As I mentioned, I mean, you were around in the mid-'70s. You were among those who helped revive New York City's efforts to get back on its feet. Compare the two crises, this one right now to what you had to go through in 1975. Are there comparisons? Is one worse than the other?
Totally different circumstances. 75, the problem was that because Governor Rockefeller had difficulty distinguishing between borrowed money and appropriated money, he relieved the city of the necessity of raising taxes to meet its budget expenditures by changing the law so that the city could borrow any amount of money that the mayor estimated he needed to balance his budget. So over the period of time between 1966 and 1975, the city borrowed, the banks underwrote about close to $7 billion of bonds, the proceeds of which were used to cover holes in the operating budget of the city.
Right.
After the Urban Development Corporation crisis in January, where the state was prepared to let this public entity go into bankruptcy rather than take money to pay its debts, the banks got scared, and they met with Governor Carey on May 2nd, 1975, and said they would no longer underwrite the notes and bonds of the city of New York.
Right, right.
The city had maturing debt obligations almost every month for the balance of the year. So we created a new entity called the Municipal Assistance Corporation by legislating the sales tax away from the city of New York and made it payable to the Municipal Assistance Corporation.
Is any of what you did in 1975 applicable today? Now, as I mentioned, you're on Mayor de Blasio's new commission now to try and help figure out how to recover this time around. Can you use any of the techniques you used last time?
Absolutely not. Totally different circumstances. It's irrelevant. And by the way, Mayor de Blasio's task force no longer exists.
Okay. But if you were asked again to come up with a solution, what would that be? I mean, you're not a big fan of them issuing more municipal bonds, by the way, are you?
No, I'm not. I would say borrowing for operating purposes was prohibited by the laws we enacted following the summer of '75, and that is not a solution now. There is only one solution, and that is federal aid. I'm sorry, I wish I could say that there should be others. We need a control board again. We need to have outside people evaluate the city budget.
Right.
And there has to be pressure on the politicians in New York to cut expenditures.
And as you well know, right now, any aid to cities and states is stalled in the Senate. The House passed a bill several months ago. It's stalled in the Senate, and Mitch McConnell has said that maybe it's just the city should think about filing for bankruptcy this time around.
No, actually, McConnell said the states should file for bankruptcy, but Mr. McConnell doesn't know anything about the Constitution of the United States because states are not permitted to file bankruptcy. Cities may, if they're authorized by their states, and only 30 out of 50 states have authorized their municipalities to file.